You know that specific heaviness that hits you when you look at a blank page or a daunting project. You know you need to start, but you physically cannot make your hands move. It feels like laziness, but it isn't. It is physics. Specifically, it is the law of inertia. Objects at rest stay at rest until acted upon by a force. The problem is that most of us try to use willpower as that force. But willpower is a finite battery, and it drains faster than you think. The solution isn't to push harder, it's to lower the friction. We call this the fake start method. It allows you to trick your brain's threat detection system and initiate deep work in under 120 seconds without relying on motivation. Why your brain resists the start. To understand why this works, you have to understand why your brain resists the start in the first place. In chemistry, there is a concept called activation energy. This is the minimum amount of energy required to start a chemical reaction. Think of a rocket launch. A rocket burns a disproportionate amount of its fuel just getting off the launch pad. Once it is in orbit, it requires almost zero energy to keep moving. Your brain works the same way. The energy required to switch from scrolling on your phone to writing a report is massive compared to the energy required to keep writing once you have started. The resistance you feel is actually a biological defense mechanism. Research suggests that when you look at a difficult task, your brain's pain centers light up. It processes the anticipation of the work as actual physical discomfort. This happens because you are making the whole mountain mistake. You aren't looking at the first step, you are visualizing the entire marathon. You see the hours of focus, the potential for failure, and the sheer effort required for the finished product. Your brain calculates the caloric cost of that entire mountain, panics and slams on the brakes to conserve energy. This leads to the perfectionism trap. You convince yourself that you can't start because you aren't in the right headspace yet. You tell yourself, "I'll start when I feel motivated," or "I'll start when the house is quiet." This is the mood-first fallacy. We tend to believe that motivation leads to action. We think we need to feel good to do the work. But psychology shows the loop is actually backward. Action produces motivation. You don't run because you feel like a runner. You feel like a runner because you are running. The cost of this waiting game is higher than you realize. Every minute you spend getting ready or waiting for the right vibe is a minute where you are leaking cognitive energy. You are stressing about the task without actually doing it. This is practically the definition of anxiety: high energy expenditure with zero forward motion. By the time you finally force yourself to start, you are already exhausted from the mental gymnastics of procrastination. To fix this, we need to stop trying to climb the mountain mentally. We need to stop negotiating with the magnitude of the task and start focusing entirely on the mechanics of the first 10 seconds. The fake start protocol. This brings us to the protocol itself, the fake start. This is essentially a negotiation strategy you use against your own amygdala. The goal is to lower the threat level of the task until your brain feels silly resisting it. It consists of 3 specific steps designed to bypass your internal friction. Step 1 is the insultingly small objective. Most people set the wrong goal. They sit down to write the quarterly report. That is a threat. Your brain resists that. Instead, your goal should be insultingly small. Your goal is to open the document and type 1 nonsense word, or to write 1 sentence that you will delete later. The objective must be so microscopic that your brain's resistance mechanism cannot find a reason to object. If you feel resistance, the goal is still too big. Make it smaller. You aren't tricking yourself into working, you are just lowering the entry fee. Step 2 is the permission to quit clause for safety. Honestly, tell yourself you can stop after 2 minutes. If you read for 120 seconds and want to stop, do so. No guilt. This reduces the task's pressure and alleviates feelings of being trapped. Knowing there's an escape lowers panic and makes you more willing to engage. Step 3 emphasizes mechanical action over mental intention. Instead of overthinking, concentrate on physical movements like sitting in a chair, opening a laptop, or holding a pen. These actions signal to your brain's reticular activating system that you're taking action, shifting from abstract to concrete. The fake start triggers the Zeigarnik effect, where starting a task creates a psychological compulsion to finish it. Once you begin, like typing a word or putting away a dish, your brain opens a task loop, making it harder to stop than to continue. Apply this to anything. For a fitness habit, don't commit to a workout, just drive to the gym. This is the fake start. If you arrive and want to leave, you can, but you likely won't, as entering requires less energy than driving home defeated. Conclusion: momentum is manufactured. Remember, motivation isn't a random lightning strike you wait for. It's a fire you build by striking a match. The fake start method proves you're always just 2 minutes away from a flow state, regardless of how you feel today. So the next time you feel totally stuck, don't try to work hard. Just try to start fake. If you want more practical productivity protocols like this to hack your brain, please hit subscribe now.